Fireworks causing problems across the West. Some people fear the trouble is not over.
You don't want all these fires going on. I mean, I wouldn't risk it, but I guess people still want to risk it. Just have fun or something.
Good evening. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Crystal Bailey. The 4th of July may have come and gone, but some firefighters worry people will continue to set off fireworks through the weekend. We're following troubling developments tied to firework incidents across the West. Problems have occurred during professional displays and among people using fireworks at home. Injuries and fires, the biggest issues. We begin with terrifying moments for people in Provo, Utah, who attended a fireworks show set up by pros. As folks inside Brigham Young's University Stadium looked stunned when they noticed malfunctioning fireworks were veering into crowd stands last night. Their 4th of July celebration came to a halt for about 15 minutes, giving injured attendees time to seek treatment. Fire department personnel and paramedics were already pre-positioned in the area because the event was expected to draw tens of thousands of people. At least 6 people needed to be taken to the hospital. Their conditions are unknown. Now, what caused the fireworks malfunction is under investigation. The majority of fireworks injuries we're hearing about today did not happen at events set up by professionals. Fox 12's Adrian Thomas reports several people were rushed to hospitals in the Portland area alone.
On Friday morning, Salmon Street Springs in downtown Portland appeared to be littered with evidence of personal firework use. Many across the metro area appearing to ignore local ordinances banning personal firework use or restrictions on airborne fireworks. This video, taken the night of July 4th by a Fox 12 photographer in his neighborhood. A spokesperson for OHSU in Portland says that emergency room has several injuries related to fireworks, including 5 hand injuries that needed surgery. Dr. Vicki Sands is an emergency room doctor at Providence, Portland. She says that she didn't personally treat any firework-related injuries this 4th of July, but this time of year always brings the risk.
Probably the most common thing we see are minor burns, usually kids and sparklers, things like that. Occasionally, we'll see people that are lighting firecrackers, more illegal type fireworks that come in with bigger kind of explosion type injuries.
Dr. Sands says whether you're in an area that bans personal fireworks completely, has some restrictions on the type of firework, or permits personal firework use, it's always important to be vigilant.
Adult supervision, decreased alcohol or drug use when lighting off fireworks, and then also being aware of safety of your surroundings so that you're not igniting any unintentional fires.
That was Fox 12's Adrian Thomas reporting, and it was a similar scene in Berkeley, California last night where surveillance footage caught the moment a young man suffered severe injuries from a firework blast. Local residents say around 13 teenagers were setting off fireworks from the street when one appeared to be a dud, exploding a second later. Then some of the teens started screaming to call 911. The teen holding that delayed firework was hospitalized. One neighbor says he's not surprised somebody got hurt.
Reckless this year. I won't say a little, there was a lot of reckless. And you know, when you're reckless, that's what happens, you know what I mean? You know, the kid hand got blowed off. I feel bad for the kid, man, you know what I'm saying? Because I wouldn't wish that on bad on nobody, but you know, you got to be careful with what you're doing out here.
Absolutely.
With these fireworks.
Now, we don't have the young man's identity, but neighbors tell us he was a football player at a local high school, headed to college on scholarship. We're told he lost several fingers in the blast. And despite repeated warnings of the dangers of illegal fireworks, booming sounds could be heard all over the San Francisco Bay Area last night. Multiple fireworks kept fire crews busy, including one incident in Antioch, which forced evacuations. KTVU's Tom Vakar spoke with fire officials about why they expect this dangerous practice to continue into the weekend.
Last night was the big night for big fireworks shows, but ton for ton, illegal fireworks ruled the night. In Martinez, huge fireworks set off a wildfire that threatened an entire neighborhood. In Contra Costa County, Confire calculated what happened from 12 a.m. on Thursday to 3 a.m. Friday, just 27 hours regarding fireworks.
We had about 16 full vegetation fires, about more than 90 exterior fires that we had to respond to throughout the night.
In this pile of expended fireworks here, there is nothing that is either safe or sane. It's all unsafe. It's all insane, and it is illegal everywhere in California. Confire is still calculating structure damage, but it and its regional local partners are staffed up and fixed up with equipment. In Santa Rosa, so-called safe and sane fireworks were banned long ago after several firefighters were injured, a home destroyed, and 4 acres burned in a single incident. Nonetheless, fireworks fires still persist.
Through the holiday weekend, we expect the incidents related to fireworks to increase through at least Sunday into Monday. Right now, as of last night alone, we had at least a dozen fire-related incidents that ranged everything from an injury to an actual structure fire and a vegetation fire.
Though damage or injury can result in misdemeanors or felonies, those guilty are hard to catch.
Usually there's nobody around after we respond to an incident like that.
We asked some Contra Costans why they think people do something so obviously dangerous.
You don't want all these fires going on. I mean, I wouldn't risk it, but I guess people still want to risk it. Just have fun or something.
Climate's changed a lot. You have a lot of dry grass around. I guess they just so happy they get caught up in the moment, and maybe they want their children to experience their experiences.
According to CAL FIRE, it alone seized 564 tons of illegal fireworks since 2020, each ounce of which can start a wildfire. And that is to say nothing of county sheriff and local police seizures. Tom Bakar, KTVU, Fox 2 News.
In Seattle, illegal fireworks set off a brush fire that came within feet of an apartment complex yesterday. A resident says someone was shooting off fireworks in a nearby parking lot. Even before firefighters arrived, Good Samaritans used water and a fire extinguisher to push back the flames from nearby cars, including one man's white Mustang.
People who own the bar, which I can't thank enough, they took buckets and buckets of water and was dumping it next to my car because the fire got within a foot of my car.
I saw a firework coming right down right up there.
Tenants were briefly forced to evacuate before fire crews were able to put the fire out. And in Utah, investigators believe fireworks started a fire that destroyed a house about 35 miles south of Salt Lake City. They say the fire started inside the Pleasant Grove home's garage. They suspect it was sparked by used fireworks that were put in a bin stored in a garage. Now, everyone inside the house was able to get out safely. The people who lived there are still searching for a missing cat. And those fireworks-related fires broke out at a time when crews were already busy battling fireworks across the West. Wildfires, across the West. Now, near Yosemite, mandatory evacuation orders have been issued in parts of Mariposa County. The French fire has burned more than 900 acres since yesterday. It's about 15% contained. Investigators are still trying to figure out how this fire got started. And the West's extreme heat only complicates matters for firefighters across the West. This is a live look at conditions in Phoenix, where temperatures soared beyond 115 degrees this afternoon. Excessive heat warnings are in effect in areas spanning from the Pacific Northwest to Arizona. Let's bring in KTVU meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who can break down what to expect from this heat over the weekend.
Hi there, Crystal. Yeah, excessive heat warnings widespread across the West, not only out toward Phoenix where you would expect it, but down in portions of Southern California, parts of the Bay Area, and even up in portions of the Pacific Northwest, a combination of heat advisories and excessive heat warnings in place. Take a look at some of the highs from this afternoon. As you can see, Phoenix, look at that, 118 degrees. Palm Springs, 124 degrees. Redding up in Northern California, 117 degrees. So this was Phoenix earlier today. There's that 118 degree, and there's not much relief at all in the weekend forecast. In San Francisco, the fog trying to cool things off trying to cover Alcatraz in San Francisco. Not talking about major heat in the city, temperatures in the lower 70s, but it's the inland spots of the Bay Area dealing with the temperatures going well up above 100 degrees. And up in Seattle, a sunny day, a very warm day, flirting with 90 90 degrees earlier this afternoon. Here's a look right now at the current temperatures out there. It is 87 degrees in Seattle. Right now, San Francisco, Los Angeles, 70 degrees. Phoenix is currently checking in. Not much cooling just yet. 116 degrees showing up on the map right now. As far as the satellite and the radar, not a lot of storm coverage to show you. With some thunderstorms developing out in portions of New Mexico. But as you can see here, the low clouds and fog near portions of the coastline of Southern California. That was the case this morning, starting to break up into the afternoon hours. So this big dome of high pressure heating up a good portion of the west with the extreme heat, and that will continue into the weekend as that area of high pressure is not moving around too much. In fact, here is the forecast for Saturday, kind of breaking it down here for a few spots out across the west. For the San Francisco Bay Area, San Jose 96 tomorrow, Concord 106. In parts of Southern California, Santa Clarita and Palmdale close to 110 degrees. And of course, they have the heat in Arizona, Scottsdale and Yuma, 112 to 114 degrees. So the heat not moving around too much. In fact, here's one of the forecast models showing you those numbers really going up from Phoenix toward San Francisco. Not too bad here, but Reno and then up in the Pacific Northwest. So the breakdown is this over the next several days. It's a warm to hot weekend in Seattle. Temperatures close to 90 degrees. San Francisco, some patchy fog in the morning, lower 70s, but away from San Francisco, definitely temperatures heating up. In Southern California, Los Angeles will be in the mid to upper 80s tomorrow with some cooling for the second half of the weekend. And of course, the heat continues in Phoenix, 113 to 114 degrees all weekend long. And there's a thunderstorm chance in the Denver area, as you can see, as we head towards Sunday. So unfortunately, it looks like the heat, it has been a big issue all week long, and it will continue into the weekend. Crystal.
Well, it looks like it was a good day to be in the San Francisco area today.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mark. Getting illegal fireworks off the street creates new challenges for law enforcement.
Fireworks are an explosive, so they need to be treated as such. You can't just dump them. You don't want to just blow them up.
Coming up, what it takes to get rid of those explosives safely. In Southern California, 2 people were stabbed to death and 3 others were injured in an attack during a 4th of July gathering in Huntington Beach. A city official said a 26-year-old man is under arrest on suspicion of murder and attempted murder. Authorities did not release a motive for the attack last night or identify the victims. Neighbors left flowers at the site, upset by the violence.
You know, you barbecue, you're around your neighbors, people you love, and they got... You don't expect that.
The violence broke out less than 2 hours after the city's fireworks display ended about a mile away. The district attorney says charges could be filed as soon as Monday. And we're learning more tonight about Vice President Kamala Harris's plan to head back west next week. According to the Las Vegas Sun, the vice president will attend a campaign event in Vegas on Tuesday. The visit to this battleground state will come just 11 days after her last visit to the city. During her most recent trip, she defended the president on the heels of his debate performance in Atlanta. Since then, she's been driving home the same message to voters during campaign stops across the country. And Governor Gavin Newsom was in Pennsylvania today to gain support for President Biden, who is facing several calls from some of his own party to step out of the presidential race. After last week's disastrous debate, California Governor Gavin Newsom says he is behind Biden 100% and is calling on independent voters to vote Democrat in November.
You think for a second Donald Trump coming back in is going to do anything but further the polarization, the trauma in this country? Of course it is. And so I encourage those independents to really think through what's at stake, and I'm absolutely confident independents will break overwhelmingly in our direction.
Many leading Democrats still remain concerned about President Biden, with several of his aides and allies agreeing that the coming days are critical for Biden. And Donald Trump has challenged President Joe Biden to another debate, this time with no moderators. In a post on Truth Social, Mr. Trump requested a, quote, no holds barred discussion about the future of the country. The White House has not responded. ABC News is scheduled to host the second debate between the two candidates on September 10th. The network has not yet announced who will be moderating. And thousands of pounds of illegal fireworks have been seized in the Las Vegas Valley. While it's good to get the explosives off the street, law enforcement has been left with the challenge of getting rid of them safely. Fox 5's Kim Passeth shows us what they've come up with.
It's considerably more than last year. And it just seems like every year the problem seems to get worse.
So far, just in the city of Las Vegas, they have filled nearly an entire shipping container with illegal explosives seized. That's despite fines being up this year at minimum $500 a pop.
I think people just see everybody doing it and they think it's okay.
Scott Thompson, a fire inspector for Las Vegas Fire and Rescue, says these hazardous materials can't be shipped off to a landfill.
Fireworks are an explosive, so they need to be treated as such. You can't just dump them. You don't want to just blow them up because you can cause injury, you can cause wildland fires. If you're going to destroy them, they have to be at an armory, at like a National Guard spot where they dispose of ordnance. It's that serious.
One 55-gallon drum of hazardous waste can cost $10,000 to dispose of. So Clark County and the cities within it have entered into an agreement with local wholesalers, TNT and Phantom Fireworks, and will resell everything here.
And at the end of this season, they take all the illegal fireworks and they pay us pennies on the pound. They're taken to a distribution center in a state that is not allowed to touch Nevada.
By participating in this program, taxpayers are saved tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars every year in disposal costs. The money made covers fireworks enforcement, which there is a lot more of this 4th of July. Kim Passoff, Fox 5 News, local, Las Vegas.
The TSA expects one of the busiest travel days of the year to be Sunday. This is a live look at activity at Los Angeles International Airport. Now, from the look of complaints filed with the U.S. government, air travelers are not having the most pleasant travel experiences. The Transportation Department reports there were so many complaints filed last year, it took until July to sort through all the filings. It received nearly 97,000 complaints in 2023. That's up from about 86,000 the year before. 2/3 were about U.S. airlines. Complaints about the treatment of passengers with disabilities rose by more than 1/4, and complaints about discrimination also rose, though they were relatively small in number. And a traffic jam to curb violence coming up. People involved take their message literally to the street.
Enough is enough. And that if we have to jam up traffic to do it, that's what we're going to do today.
An actor who got wrapped up in a fight during a 4th of July celebration is sharing his side of the story. Fox 11's Christine Devine sat down with Danny Trejo to get his take on the brawl.
My dad took me away.
At the Pacoima home of actor Danny Trejo.
Yeah, that's me with President Obama. It was so cool.
The wall of fame is impressive, but it's video of a 4th of July brawl that has the Machete star talking now. The Sunland Tahunga Rotary Club had invited Trejo to ride in its parade. He was there with 3 classic lowriders.
The senators in front of us, and they passed, and then we came, and then bam, all of a sudden our car got hit by a water balloon.
In the video, you see Trejo exit the car. Why?
When somebody yelled it was acid, I thought they messed up Tony's car.
Acid like a chlorine smell.
And somebody yelled, "It's acid!" And I panicked. I got out of the car to look, and then a balloon hit me, and then I saw the guy throwing it.
Video shows Trejo approach a man in the crowd. You can see him swing. Things escalate. The man swings as Trejo stumbles and falls.
I hate bullies, and that's what bullies do. You know, they're really cowards. I did this in the 50s and the 60s, and you know, I'm still doing it. I'm 80 years old.
Mario Castillo was in the lowrider with and behind Trejo's. He feels they were racially targeted. He takes a serious punch and falls.
We weren't there to start no trouble. It was kind of like we're just confronting the people that were throwing balloons. It was a grown man, skinhead, tattoos.
Castillo's arms are all bruised up. He says from being held down.
Would you have stayed in the car if you could do it differently? And kept going?
Well, I'm kind of like Danny. I'm gonna be with my best friend no matter what.
What's your overall message?
That, you know what, it's sad that people can wake up in the morning and decide to go down and ruin something for everybody else.
I asked Trejo, would he have done anything differently?
I am a protector. I will protect all my friends, you know, always. And that's what I was doing.
And that was Fox 11's Christine Devine reporting. She says she's made public calls for the person who threw the water balloon to come forward and share their story. She's waiting for a response. Police did show up to the scene. We have no reports of any charges being filed. The Justice Department has until Sunday to decide whether to move forward with criminal charges designed to take Boeing to trial. The case would be tied to 2 deadly crashes involving Boeing's 737 MAX jetliners. According to Reuters, the Justice Department is preparing a potential plea deal. Under the agreement, Boeing would pay a $224 million fine and enter a 3-year probationary period. In exchange, Boeing would plead guilty to some criminal charges. Many family members of crash victims say they are outraged that Boeing may avoid a trial. And Black and brown community leaders and organizations hosted a traffic jam for peace today in Seattle to address gun violence. Fox's Alejandra Guzman shares with us. Activists said they're most concerned about the impacts on children.
You can see these folks are out enjoying the entire ride. They started off Airport Way and ended here outside T-Mobile Park. But with summer in full swing, their goal is to fill the next 100 days with so many activities. Kids have nothing else to do but have fun, be themselves, but more importantly, be kids. Seattle is no stranger to protests, rallies, and demonstrations. Some drivers today were caught behind this. This traffic jam is unlike any other. The usual frustration and impatience are replaced by a collective sense of purpose, ending gun violence in our community.
Enough is enough. And that if we have to jam up traffic to do it, that's what we're going to do today.
Like a car crash impacts those involved and everyone else on the road, this is a metaphor for what our communities are experiencing too often now, the loss of our youth.
We should not have to stand around and figure out ways for a kid to live.
Urban Family, a local nonprofit dedicated to our teens, firmly believes what affects one of us directly impacts everyone indirectly.
It's tragic. Just seeing people that are either my age or younger not being able to live their lives out fully or even have the chance to.
Helping kick off today's rally was Janine Lewis, who lost her son Elijah to gun violence in April of 2023.
Peace, love, and joy, family. Elijah Lewis here. And
the activist died shielding his 9-year-old nephew from the gunfire.
It seems like every day, every weekend, we have at least 1 to 3 casualties every week. Every single week, and predominantly youth.
Earlier this week, 13-year-old Jada Woods Johnson was killed after a fight broke out at the Elderwood Mall in Linwood. She was tragically hit by gunfire.
Violence is a disease.
Firearms are the leading cause of death for children and teens, according to Everytown. Their latest data shows nearly 2,600 children and teens have died by homicide. But it's never too late.
Think before you act. There's a lot of avenues besides violence, gang banging, all that. Just reach out, you're not alone.
And we have to do a better job of working together. Working together.
Alejandra Guzman, Fox 13 News.
That does it for us here on West Coast Wrap. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a happy and safe holiday weekend. Good night.